What's up, everyone? Welcome back. This is your Daily Chat Season 5, Episode 17 for April 8th, 2020. How's everybody doing today? What is going on? We are in day 31, I believe, of the quarantine, possibly 32. The days still just kind of blend together. Very soon, I'll be logging in star dates. So that is the current situation. In-game world event cases continue to keep going up. I believe we just crossed 1.4 or 1.5 million as of today. Doesn't look like it's getting any better. Looks like we're going to be hunkering in. Not gonna lie, if you haven't played Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, I'm not saying you need to, but I am saying it might be a good preparatory event. Just remember, wherever you use a bottle cap, you will be using toilet paper. Other than that, all things seem like they are a pretty accurate simulation of the events. So there you go. Now, I know some of you have been working from home, and if you caught episode 16 of yesterday's show, we talked about Zoom and how it is a garbage program. It's always been a garbage program. It's ran by a garbage company, but they have been catching fire non-stop since then. It has been an absolute just wild ride of accusation. It has been an absolute wild ride of accusations and just horrible choices on the course of that company. And let's get into it. So we have here, Google has banned its employees from using Zoom. So first it was the New York Department of Education, and now it is Google banning its employees from using Zoom. And to no shock at all, this company has had so many issues with their security, with data. There's been issues with them routing packets out through China and back again. Just this company is very likely going to end up in front of Congress if they keep going at the rate that they are. It's not good, and I'm glad companies are now starting to see that Zoom is a tire fire and Zoom is a garbage program. Mind you, I'm not sure Microsoft Teams is going to be any better. We all know Skype had massive IP logging issues and IP leakage issues, but there's no real good way, and I said this in yesterday's show, and I'm going to say it again. Coming out the other side of this event, if you are an entrepreneur and you have any kind of technical skill, or you have access to people with technical skills, this is your time to stake your claim and grab your cash. We've proven now that none of the existing teleconference programs are good or safe or secure. And this is your time, man. Build one, market it, sell it. Just prove that it's better than what you're going up against. Right now, your main competition is Zoom, Skype for Business, Teams, Discord, Slack. Those are the main ones. I'm sure there's some like little niche programs here and there, but those are your main players. And you just have to be better than them. On top of all that, on top of everything Zoom has been accused of and having problems with, they have gone and hired an ex-Facebook security chief to help with this whole thing. When I saw this article, I had to check my calendar and I had to look just to be sure that this was not April 1st and I had not Groundhog Day the last week of my life, because this seemed like a very cruel April Fool's joke. But yes, Zoom has hired an ex-Facebook security chief, and we can only assume as a PR move. We can safely assume that they're not going to actually implement anything of any kind of real worth, because why would they? They haven't done it yet. A bounty hunter literally found a bug and they tried to pay him off and make him sign an NDA to not divulge it. Zoom is just making one bad turn after another, and this is, I think, going to be coming to the end of the road for them. Yes, they are a big company. Yes, they do have a lot going. But when you are becoming so untrustworthy that places like Google ban you, It's only a matter of time before a lot of other places follow suit, man. Government agencies are dropping it. The Department of Education New York dropped it. It's just a matter of time before we see this company maybe start to sway back and forth. And like I said, no one should be surprised at all if they do end up in front of Congress by the time this thing is all wrapped, said and done, because they've had real bad problems. People were guessing into the links or meetings, and one naked guy showed up into an elementary school full of children, like, on Zoom. How bad is that? Like, that does not make your company look good at all. But that's just Zoom. Just wanted to update you guys on what was happening. Now, for those of you who are students, okay, and I know there is some of you that are graduating this year. And when I say this year, I mean you're graduating in like 2 weeks. For those of you graduating, you are probably looking for like an internship, or for those of you in school, you're looking for a co-op-ship. Well, luckily for you, this in-game world event has not stopped a lot of major companies from, well, driving in a new direction. And because of this, we are now seeing more remote internships being offered. Google, Twitter, Microsoft, Lyft, Salesforce, Apple, Amazon, Intel, Uber, DoorDash, Facebook, big picture. These companies have all begun to make the switch to allowing for a remote internship too. This doesn't sound like a big thing, but for those of you a little bit older, say from like 2018 and past, who never had this option for a remote internship, this is big. This is awesome, because with the ability to give a remote internship opens the pool of candidates just that much more. If you're in Canada and Intel is offering a remote internship, you can possibly apply for it now. Intel, same thing. Uber, I don't really know what you'd be doing with Uber, but I'm sure you'd be doing some type of software development. These are all great opportunities. And if you are looking for an internship, or you're just looking for a new job, because the unemployment rate is skyrocketing right now. I saw a report yesterday that Alberta, where I am, is anticipating up to 25% unemployment through this in-game event. This is a time, man, that if you can work remotely, if you have skills that can be transferred in that way, you should really look at a lot of these big companies now, especially if you're a new grad, because this might be your chance to still get a job even in the darkest of times that we're living through right now. And we have Google Stadia as our next topic. Google Stadia, for those of you that don't remember what is, need a refresher, Google Stadia was that really odd cloud gaming service that Google launched about 4 or 5 months ago. And it was a absolute disaster at its launch. There's the pro version, there's the free version, 4K, no games, don't own the games, buy the games. It's a whole thing. And they did say that there was going to be a free tier coming out, and we finally got it. So Google Stadia has now made the gaming service free, plus you get 2 months of Stadia Pro, but they have made the maximum resolution only 1080p, and for no other reason than because of the massive infrastructure hit that is currently affecting the ISPs right now, which is completely understandable. There is more data passing through right now than I think any ISP ever really anticipated. Like, we are right now living in the worst possible scenario kind of timeline for an ISP business analyst. So that's okay. Like 1080p, look, most of you aren't going to see the real difference anyway. And plus, how many of you are actually going to buy the games from Google Stadia? I don't really see this as a big problem, but I'm glad to see that they did offer it for free finally. They have actually lived through to their promise. And yeah, I'm glad it's out there. We'll see how it plays out. I'm not really holding my breath on it. From what I remember Google Stadia's initial reactions, initial impressions was not the greatest by a lot of people. And I will be keeping my eye very closely on this to see if people's opinions have changed or if it is still as much of a garbage pile as it was 4 months ago. And In our last story of today, Jared Kushner, Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law, if I'm not mistaken, has been ahead of a lot of different committees since coming into office. He's been put in charge of this, that, and the other, and he's now in charge of trying to help with this coronavirus thing. And he has made a pitch to create a national database of hot spots, low spot kind of zones to report what areas are at risk, what areas are not at risk anymore. And this is one of just many actions we've seen come forward through government agencies trying to expand reach and power against the populace, against the First Amendment rights of people. It's a super scary time. And while we don't know if this is going to pass through, we can say that this is not a great move on the government's part. For them, it's a great move. But from our perspective here, this is a terrible move, because the more power you guys give up as citizens, the more powers you give the government to invade on your privacy and watch you and spy on you. This is a real bad thing that could happen. And unfortunately, like I said, multiple agencies have already made power plays against the First Amendment rights of people like this right now in this time. It's scary, to say the least, especially for me, an outsider looking in, but living in what is essentially America light. This is terrifying, because normally how things work up here in Canada is whatever the US does, we do like a year, maybe a year and a half later. So if you guys pass this incredible, spying bill, I can only imagine we're gonna get it too. And we don't have as much power over our government as you guys do over yours. But in all, this whole article right here, this whole problem really is just another thing that proves the complete ineptitude and complete selfishness of the US political system. Now, we've had senators, we've had politicians in general force people to go out and vote in Wisconsin, say it is safe while dressed out in full PPE gear. We've had them try and downplay the severity of this illness. We've had them ignore medical experts. And it's just showing one more thing, that the system is not built to help you. The system is very much built against the people it's actually serving. So I don't really know which way this is going to go. This article was just posted right before I started today's show, and we're still waiting to see more things unfold about it. But it's just one more thing on the pile that we can just look at and shake our head and be like, this could not go possibly any worse unless they actually start kicking doors down to people's houses without a warrant. Well, guys, there you go. That is your daily chat for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name has been Arif. If you like today's show, please do like, comment, share, and subscribe, especially subscribe. We're at 900 and some change for subscribers, very close to 1,000, hoping to get there before the end of April. I've been Arif, and I'll see all of you guys on the next daily chat. Have a good night, guys. Bye.